What is going on, buddy? Welcome back to All Things Film. Today I'm going to be going through this Hollywood Reporter interview with Andrew Lincoln, aka Rick Grimes, and how he reacted to Carl's death and also the mid-season finale. So, in case you aren't caught up to The Walking Dead Season 8, here is your spoiler warning. 3, 2, 1, let's begin! Alright guys, I don't know if it's just me or the way I'm reading this interview, because it's not even a live interview, it's just words, but it seems like Andrew Lincoln is a bit upset here, and he should be. You know, he lost his on-screen son, his off-screen buddy, aka his second son. I think he has a son. So I'm sure Chandler's like his second son to him because he saw him grow up and stuff. So I'm going to go through this interview and give you guys my thoughts on it. First question is, what was your first reaction when you heard Chandler was leaving? And he said, it's kind of funny because he said like Scott M. Gimple called him and said like, you're going to hate this one. And Andrew was like guessing like 4 names before he guessed Chandler's name. It's funny because even Andrew Lincoln thought that Carl would be the last man standing because he said like I thought I would hand over my boots and my revolver and when he walked off into the sunset in season 28. So even Andrew Lincoln thought that both of them would survive all the way to the end, and then unfortunately Rick would die before Carl died. But now we know that's not gonna happen, so it sucks. But even Andrew Lincoln thought that Carl would make it to the end. And like he's saying like the whole cast was, you know, they were very shocked from his death, and you know, because it's such a huge departure from the comics, he said, and like everyone was shocked, and no one saw it coming. So it's very interesting because like even you know, stuff like the actors don't even know what's gonna be happening in the writing room, and some stuff that happens just like shocked them all. So that's really interesting. But then he says he there's a lot of questions that were asked, and he said that in the back 8 episodes, meaning the second half of season 8, we're gonna find out. One question was like, how is this gonna alter the show? And he said, you know, he kind of had a tough time going back to work with knowing the change in Rick's life. And he even said that everyone as the season was progressing, he said everyone in the group or everyone in the cast was saying this is bigger than Glenn's death. So and probably the biggest death they ever have, because he said like if you're a comic reader, you know how important it is to the comic. Carl is to the comic. So that's like really interesting, because you know even the cast, like everyone thought that this death is bigger than Glenn's death, and I don't know, like it seems like something happened that no one expected, because I'm sure people are kind of ready for like a death on the show. Like I don't think anyone's like 100% surprised, but it seems like here everyone is surprised. And he says that they asked him like you know, they were talking to him how he lost his wife Lori and now his son, and he's saying how is he gonna respond to this, and because you know how Carl is like morally opposed to him, and like the first episode, or not the first episode, the 8th episode, we kind of saw Carl and Rick talking, and like Carl didn't want Rick to kill every savior, and he was telling him that he was telling the interview, like Andrew Lincoln was saying that all those questions are going to be answered in the back half of season 8, and this is really interesting here because he said the beginning of, or the mid-season premiere was the most painful episode I was involved in, and wow, that is crazy. From a man who has been there since episode 1, this upcoming episode is the most painful episode. That's a way to describe it. So that's really interesting right there, and I can't wait to see this episode. I can't wait and can't wait at the same time, because I'm not ready for this, but I will be ready. And then they asked him questions about the teary-eyed, red-eyed Rick, and he said they'll all be resolved in the second half of season 8. So that's really cool. I'm really excited to see it. So we know this red-eyed Rick thing isn't done, and they also asked him questions about the flash forward and Old Man Rick, and he said like he can't answer these questions. I don't even know why people ask questions like this. Like you can't answer them. Like he's gonna be like, yeah, Rick has red eyes because Carl died, or like whatever. So like he's not gonna answer the question. But moving forward, now a question about his contract came up, and there's a lot of talk about the contracts and stuff, because apparently Andrew Lincoln and Norman Reedus' contracts haven't been signed for season 9. Which is a bit frightening, because what if they don't want to sign? But I'm sure they will sign. But yeah, even said like Andrew Lincoln said that what do you see like they asked him like, do you see like an end in your time? And this is really scary, because I never thought I didn't think Andrew Lincoln would ever come out and say this. I thought I don't know, it's just kind of weird. But he said he says for his own satisfaction and for the fans. He thinks there deserves to be an end point, and he's absolutely right. As a fan, I don't like it when people talk about the end of something I love, but if I'm gonna be realistic here, that definitely makes sense, because I'm sure he lives in the UK and he has family there, so I'm sure he doesn't want to work here for 20 years. As a lot of the crew goes like, we're gonna joke around. Even Andrew Lincoln in this interview said season 28. So a lot of the crew joke around and say like, oh, we're gonna make 1 billion episodes, we're gonna go to season 50, and obviously, we know that's not gonna be true, but I do think this show is gonna last to like season 12 or 13. But all this talk coming around with the contracts and stuff kind of scares me, but it makes sense because I'm sure Rick wants an endpoint and he doesn't want a show to go on and just become trash, I guess, in a sense. But he just say that he can't get into all that because obviously he can't because he doesn't even know. It's the writers who determine when the show ends, I guess. Well, not necessarily. If an actor wants out, I guess he could get out. But he does say like his relationship with Rick Grimes is far from over, so that's good to hear. And then they ask him questions like, "Do you see an endpoint for you?" And he's not able to answer this question, so I'm not sure why they're asking him. Yeah, and then he talks more about Carl, and unfortunately, he kind of seems upset about it, and he says that they never saw this coming, in the show and in real life, like the actors never saw it coming, and now they have to, they're in the middle of a war, and now they just got hit with this new thing, and it's just crazy, and he's talking about what Carl represents to Rick, and Carl is the fuel for Rick, Carl and Judith, and I think Carl more in a sense because he's his like blood son, and I don't know. I'm not sure exactly about that because I'm sure he loves Judith as well. But Carl was that person from the start that he it's his boy. He knew him before the apocalypse, and I'm sure that's the feel for him. And that's gonna definitely change him. And moving forward, it's gonna suck. But I'm really interested to see how Rick copes with this. It's gonna suck, and he said like it's the future and it's been taken away, and that changes everything, and it does change everything because Carl is the future of the show. And if you think about it, I thought about this. I'm sure everybody in the Walking Dead fan base thought about this, and even Andrew Lincoln thought that Carl would be the last man standing. Because him dying this early is something that I never expected ever. So it is a kind of a punch in the gut. So we'll see how it plays out in the back half of season 8. But then they ask him like, "Will you be back for season 9?" And it's kind of funny because these interviewers always try to like sneak in little questions here, like, "Will you be back for season 9?" And he said, "I hope so." Obviously, he's not gonna say yes because that'll spoil it, saying, "Oh, Rick survives" or he signed a contract. Oh, obviously, I don't think Rick's gonna die in the second half of season 8. Imagine that they kill Rick, they kill Carl in the first half of season 8, they kill Rick in the second half of season 8. Oh, Walking Dead's over, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, they ask him, "Will he be back for season 9?" And then they also talk about Rick and Negan because with Carl's death, is Rick gonna change the way he looks at Negan because Rick is kind of upset that Carl's died and he's probably gonna go on a rampage, but then also Carl wants him to have mercy on Negan, I'm sure. So the question was like, with Carl's death, is Rick going to have to pay a huge price for taking Negan on? And he said it's gonna be answered in the back half of season 8. He said the back half of season 8 and the mid-season premiere were like the hardest episodes he's ever filmed before. And he said Chandler Riggs, these 2 episodes, meaning premiere and finale, they were the best episodes he's ever seen Carl in. So that's huge stuff. And I'm really excited to see this episode 9 because the word is it's crazy. And if it's Andrew Lincoln's most scary best episode and frightening and whatever, the most crazy episode for him, I'm definitely excited to see how that goes. And then they ask him, "Can you tease the season finale in 3 words?" And he says, "WTF." So it's unbelievable. So they are hyping this up, and unfortunately, Andrew Lincoln seems a bit upset by Carl's death, and he should be. And a lot of people think that he's gonna leave the show. I don't think he's gonna leave the show. He's way too dedicated, and he loves the fans. So I'm sure he's not gonna be like, "Fuck y'all, I am leaving this show. You guys can go to hell." I don't think he's gonna do that shit. So I'm sure he's gonna sign on for a season 9, season 10. But season 9, season 10, that could possibly be it, guys. With Carl, I could see the show going to like season 15, 16. I'm gonna be honest, I can't because Chandler Riggs is young. But with just Rick, maybe season 12, season 11, because Andrew Lincoln, I don't think he's like 44 now, I think. So I'm sure the show's not gonna go on for 20 more years. So I think with Carl gone, I don't think the show can survive without Rick. I think Rick's the person who can carry the show now, since Carl is gone. They could do Judith. Judith could come back. Not come back. She's there. I mean, Judith could grow up and become the Carl. They could do a huge time skip. I don't know. It's too early talking about this stuff, but we'll see how it plays. I'm really excited for the second half of season 8 in the future of The Walking Dead. If you guys did enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like rating, and if you have any thoughts and opinions on this whole the whole Carl death and Andrew Lincoln or anything about The Walking Dead, feel free to leave it in the comment box below. And thanks you guys for watching. If you do enjoy Walking Dead content, be sure to subscribe as I post daily Walking Dead videos, or I try to at least. But thanks for watching. It's been All Things Film, and until next time, peace!